this is a place where we'll see its lakes, parks and gardens. Today we are at the Puttenahalli Lake and Bird Conservation Reserve. So let's go start. A beautiful lake indeed. The Puttenahalli Lake and Bird Conservation Reserve was turned into a bird conservation reserve in 2015. There are these signboards to tell what are the birds at the lake. This is better education for the public about the birds. Immediately as we entered, we saw a Brahmini kite to say for the first person to welcome us there. And shortly after, when I was filming the kite, I saw a black kite which was sitting in between these branches. And a few yards away from that, there was an egret doing egret stuff, just walking around, searching for food maybe, or just taking its own morning walk. And a few hundred yards away, there was another one which was walking the other side. Another brilliant thing to see. Again, doing egret stuff. And guys, if you see on that tree, there are purple herons and cormorants, and they're coming onto the tree. It seems like it's their nest. It's just wonderful to be here. There, on the tree, as mentioned, there were purple herons and little cormorants, and they were being accompanied by grey herons, like this one here, which was flying to its part of the tree. It was being shared by millions of birds, and the breeding season this indicates the breeding season. There was one more grey heron coming from the right side to its part of the tree. And you could see a lot of action is happening on this tree. You can see the flapping wings and all of that is happening. A pair of little cormorants were going from tree to tree. A pair of lesser whistling ducks flew by to go to their part, which was not on the trees. So guys, now we are at this bird hideout where people photograph birds and which photograph birds nicely. It's a place for that. This is the view, and I'm observing that from here, a lot of the purple herons, cormorants, and grey herons are breeding. A purple heron, a massive grey heron, was collecting its nesting material to go and build its nest. It was an amazing sight to see. While I was in the bird hide, I saw that there was this random bug which was wandering around on the table onto where I can keep my camera to photograph the birds. I saw that he was walking around there and I couldn't identify this bug. That's why I'm calling it random. It looks like a spider, but it actually isn't, because it's much more thinner than a spider. And it isn't a ladybug either, because it doesn't have itself fully red, but it does look a little bit like a ladybug with those spots at the back end of its tail area, which is red. The head and the tail is red, and while spiders don't have antennas, this bug does. Another two pair of cormorants moving from tree to tree, with two grey herons in the background and one nesting purple heron in the background. A nicer view of the whole picture. Speaking about cormorants, a few meters away from the bird hideout, a couple of little cormorants were flapping their wings and drying out, just like we've seen the great cormorants do in our previous videos. It's a very familiar sight to me now. This egret was in the tall grass which was right next to the lake, probably water hyacinth. It was looking backwards, which was very unusual to me, and then it went off behind the tree. On this island, there was a bit of action going on. You can't see much, so I have put the arrow, but it's brilliant to see. Well, there, you could see that. This is a bird that it took very long for me to understand that it was actually sorry for my voice, but but it took a long time for me to understand that this was actually a purple heron, a huge purple heron which was doing some yoga pose. Right then and there was a juvenile purple heron at the water's edge. The purple heron is a new member on this channel, and we are very happy to welcome it in such a way. In an island crevice, there was another grey heron, which was just sitting there at the crevice. Well, if you just see here, there's an earthworm curled up. Wow. Amazing.